Okay. We continue to discuss the federal judiciary and some the complementary study of administrative hearing. The elements of administrative hearing is very controlling to actually shape the normative aspect of a public administration dominantly. I said the informal dimension would be extended as what a Oliver Wendell Holmes, a brooding omnipresence in sky. What does it imply? Nonetheless, the independent agency, typically Article 1 tribunal, as I said, kind of a logistical role and also some important area to require a rule making formally based on the APA stipulation, for example, what is the on record kind. So, elements of an administrative hearing would be followed up in this class, and also I consider the federal judiciary need to be supplemented. The basics of federal judiciary. I've accepted one writing. This is 3 or 4 pages retrieved from a website of a White House. How do they perceive the federal judiciary? It's so basic and allow us to see the current status of a federal judiciary, where the executive rest branches are elected by the people. Members of judicial branch are appointed by president and confirmed by Senate. Article 3 of the Constitution, which established the judicial branch, leaves Congress significant discretion to determine the shape and structure of the federal judiciary. Even the number of Supreme Court justices is left to Congress. At times there have been as few as 6. So until the mid of 18th century, there were only 6 justices in the Supreme Court. Perhaps around the Civil War era, the nationalization in that period was quite in progress. I've mentioned the educational sector in the last class, which is an important policy area, along with the science or copyright. Public education is one important theme that the state government have long responded with, you say. And around the mid-80s, President Lincoln had launched the initiative to promote the national education. So you will know the familiar name of what is a National Science Foundation and kind of National Academy of the United States had been created around the administration. Nevertheless, we also consider some extensive division, which is very not congruent, curriculum and instruction. As I've said, degree programs, how to shape the education of teachers, and the kind of approval of universities, colleges are often fall within the responsibility of state government. So dominantly, which is high dominant, so state role of state government and its responsibility is quite important. The federal government, however, have launched many programs and also enacted a selected statute of history and typically you will see some intense system have been pursued. For example, about disadvantaged children, special education, and also how to encourage the children of poverty class. So what is a kind of an integrative initiative need to be in high priority. So the education, as you know, one important state national instrumentality to make a more sociable community congruence. So basically, it may contribute to reduce illiteracy rate, for example, and some insular and discrete minorities may be advantage to boost. And also the kind of formative action is popular of public education. Recently, we have been heard that the state of Michigan abolished the affirmative action, which long prescribed in the state constitution. Actually, they do not formally support the administrative action. One contentious area in terms of administrative action had long been questioned about public education. But administrative policy is in compliance with a fair representation. Many public interest groups, for example, are now still pursues to seek an answer. Is it fair? So one website, a public interest group has shrunk down, for example, or Harvard University or University of Wisconsin, another North Carolina University. So they may bring some they may have suspicion. They suspect if fair competition had been crippled, or a more talented or competent candidate may be dropped in favor of a minority students. Or actually, that is a very difficult issue, even in the context of a educational goals or purpose. Today we presume rightly that white students are well afforded, basically, and they are privileged as innate and a bomb or a gold spoon in the mouth. And often we also consider the white male would be more superior intellectually against the black people or female person. So many hypotheses or assumptions would be discussed. And how to build a fair context of admission policy or educational goal would actually not settle. No definite answer could be now possible, I would suppose. So the kind of assumption, for example, is it true the white majority are always a wealthy class, general wealthy class? That is also not convincing. The fact could not be demonstrated on any statistics. Of course, many studies may go otherwise. And we also need to be detailed into poor class. For example, income disparity is a little different profile from poverty issue. So poverty is an independent problem, socially redressed, should be redressed, I would consider. So many difficult issues in a wider spectrum would involve to define the fine paradigm of education, public education. So a unscrupulous way to regularly endorse administrative action would have no place to stand in contemporary society of the United States. So that is one illustration. If we see a chart, the trend of affirmative action, how much is it legitimate and fair? So the public education sector could be interrogated on successive generations of administration. So President Clinton also emphasized some kind of ideal mode of a public education for the poor class, and also George Bush has enacted statute. President George Bush also supported so the partisan ideal would go in different perception about that issue. However, it is fairly subtle. So for the education agenda, both parties would not go in extreme. So they can share in much share of the educational issue. So that policy area is an important laboratory. We consider how the federal system could operate properly to serve the public goals or ideals. And as I've said, a federal judiciary is important in terms of American public policy. And I mentioned they have been safeguarded with a layer of important institutions, the protection of their status, and prevent a prohibition of decreasing salary, for example, a lifetime tenure. So independent judiciary is seen as you may well be blessed with of a democratic states on the planet. Then Congress determines the jurisdiction of the federal courts. In some cases, however, such as in the example of dispute between two or more U.S. states, the Constitution grants the Supreme Court original jurisdiction, an authority that cannot be restricted by Congress. So we have two types of jurisdiction in the constitutional language, original and appellate jurisdiction. And the Supreme Court is a unique code prescribed in the Constitution. The lower code would be mentioned, and there is no specific mention between circuit court and federal district courts. That would be a product coined by the Congress via statute. So we have now have a certain circuit court. Geographical boundaries indicate 11 circuit. You may add circuit court for District of Columbia, and U.S. circuit court for U.S. Court of Appeals for Federal Circuit. Federal Circuit would hear the appeals raised from a Court of Federal Claims. We have one district court named the Federal Court of Federal Claims. It is a special court which is out of a geographical scale in distribution. And then we have a certain circuit courts, and the Court of Appeals for Federal Circuit also hear a massive of a patent or copyright cases.